So welcome back to another episode, and Rob is here for a very special reason. We're wearing our very special jackets here.
Yes, indeed.
We got them out of the closet. We had to get all the dust off it. These are kind of old and worn a little bit. Yours is looking a little bit nicer than mine. But our old Dreamcast jackets, and we're kind of looking like, you said it earlier in the other room, we look like people are working at Sega in the 90s or something like that, which is great. But what we wanted to do today is come in and talk about one of our favorite summers, one of the best summers for video gaming for us personally. And it's funny because we've had so many different summers and they've come and gone and they've highs and lows. But for some reason, this summer is legendary because of all the amazing things that happened.
It was insane.
It was insane. It was just one thing after another.
And we'll do our best to try and keep the timeline between us as straight as possible. There may be a bit of back and forth because it's been a while.
It's been 22 years since the year 1999. And it starts, it's the end of April for me.
Yep.
And I graduate film school. And I'm excited to get out there. And I'm like, this is awesome. And just before I graduated film school, I played two different games that I had never played before, this style of game. Can you believe it? A flight simulation combat game, Ace Combat 3.
Weirded me out that you played that because it was so not your style.
It was so not my thing.
So not your style.
Yeah, for sure. But I went down to Richmond and got a copy of it, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool. I ended up buying a legit copy and the American copy when it came out, but I loved it. It kind of reminded me of Macross Plus, the anime characters that were going on, and the flight mechanics, and I got addicted, and I thought it was so great. And I played that just before graduation, and then I did something again that was crazy. What the heck? I didn't play this style of game.
This was not your style at all.
Ridge Racer.
I remember this, and I remember watching the intro and watching you play and being just baffled.
Yeah.
Baffled.
But you know what it was? I think, it was Namco, and it was just, the music was so good. I still listen to this music. I remember me and Kim had a road trip, and I just played Ridge Racer Type 4 the entire way. And she's like, this music's so nice, it's so 90s. And I'm like, exactly. And that is the thing. This is the end of the 90s. That style of game, the music at that time. It was great. And so I had this kind of neat experience. And it was kind of the thing that things were about to change. I graduated film school, playing different games, and then the amazing thing, and Rob's part is coming, and it's a long, exciting,
don't worry,
exciting thing. Doing the big build up to it. So for my graduation, my mom and sister said, "Hey, let's go to Las Vegas to celebrate." And I'm like, "Okay, but I don't like gambling. I'm not a gambling guy." So I'm like, okay, they kind of want to go, and I'll just go and be. It's kind of a nice thing. I just get to get away. Something legendary happened while I was there. This is unbelievable. I'm walking around, and there's like an EB Games, GameStop, and I'm like, okay. And there's a guy outside of the store with a little kiosk. I would find out what this is about. There's a monitor, and there's a Japanese Dreamcast. Okay, it's like, well, we haven't got in this country yet at all. And it's like, what the heck is going on? And he's showing it to people who are walking by. Yeah. So he made a deal. This is the thing. He made a deal with EB. Hey, can I just show the Dreamcast?
See, and this is a sign of the times that this was pre EB GameStop merger, pre-corporate style EB Games.
Yeah.
Back when you went in there, you knew the staff knew what they were talking about, with like being really passionate about the games, and before it was as popular and widespread. I mean, I'm not to say that the EB Game staff now aren't. But what I'm saying is,
the corporation.
Back then, it was very much that sort of.
But the gamers.
We talked about how the gaming nerd community was much more closed, and much more small, and not as widespread. And so when you went in there, that was one of those, like, it was a little safe haven for us. But they would let people do stuff like this.
Dude, they would never allow this now.
No,
not in a million. It's also before the internet is what it is now. Way before. So I'm walking by, and this guy's like, and I stopped, and he's like showing Sonic Adventure. And he's like, hey, do you want to come see this? And he bought his own Dreamcast, imported everything, and said to somebody, AB, can I just show it to people? What a passionate gamer.
Boom. Beautiful.
It was amazing. So I stood there, and he showed me Sonic Adventure, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then he showed me something else that would become a legendary game for us. I didn't know that at that time, and that was Blue Stinger. What an amazing thing. I got it right here just to show. But he showed it to me, and I was like, and all I kept thinking about was, I can't wait to come back and tell Rob what I've seen. I can't wait to tell Rob what I've seen. This is unbelievable. It's Resident Evil. It's Resident Evil, but with like arcade-style graphics on this new machine, and this epic story that I could make out. I was only there for a little bit of time to check it out. And then,
but you regaled me with the tales of the opening cinema and how amazing it
and
looked
the
and
gameplay.
how cool it was.
I mean, I know
it was so wild.
It's so wild, and we're going to talk about Blue Stinger in a second here. And yes, it's not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but it was the excitement of that Dreamcast kicking in. And so, I came back and sat on the patio, smoked 1,000 cigarettes. Oh my God, dude, you won't fucking believe it. You think I rant and rave on the show? No. You should have seen what I'm like back before I had the show.
And you know, absolutely. And we sat with our Game Fan magazines.
Yeah.
As we always did, poring over all of the screenshots of the, it coming soon, it's out in Japan, and you kept telling me over and over, the screenshots are cool, and this became a mantra to us. These screenshots are cool, but wait till you see it moving.
Yeah, well now you can just go and see a trailer online, right? Which is cool. It's not
the same though.
Well, no, this is just a certain time period.
I know,
right? I know you had to trust me, and you did trust me. I'm like,
did.
Dude, I'm like, Blue Stinger. I
can't wait to see this. I can't wait to check this out.
Right, and we're gonna come back to that in a second. So, as I'm talking about, this is the best summer that we've ever had. So at this point, my friend Andrew flies out for 3 weeks just to hang out. I've graduated film school. I got some time before I'm looking for a job. I'm getting some things together. But it's kind of like I'm off for summer, right?
Yeah.
And you were over all the time as well. And we were just having a great amount of fun.
I lived in your basement.
He lived in the basement.
I practically lived in the basement.
He did. Every day was riding your bike over and hanging out.
Coming in the door.
Yeah.
Making tea.
It was a lot of fun. It was like so exciting. And so here's where it gets like crazy. This is a summer. There'll never be a summer like it ever again. You can say maybe for the Force Awakens created that kind of fun again, but
not quite
the hype for the Phantom Menace, and we're not saying the Phantom Menace is a perfect movie because it's not. No. But that summer was all about the anticipation of it coming out.
It was nuts.
It was the most exciting thing because I was a huge Star Wars fan. You were a Star Wars fan. I was crazy though, right?
You were way crazier fan than me. I mean, I was a big fan, but you were like, it was your thing.
It was my thing, and we only had episodes 4, 5, and 6. That was it. And so to hear that he's going back and he's doing the first one, and the trailers had come out, and then the music video had come out, and then I had to tell this story because it's part of this summer. Something absolutely weird happened when you guys were out. I grabbed a goddamn paper, and I was going through it, and it said midnight launch of the Phantom Menace toys, and I'm like,
yep.
There's a thing for this. They're doing this, and I'm like, oh my! I've got to go. So, and I gotta say, my friend Andrew, he's out as well. He's like, really? I line up for a toys. It was a weird thing, and it was a very nerdy thing back then. It was
big time.
It was like one of those things where we were kind of
This is kind of before midnight launches of video games became a thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Bit. It was like right around that time.
Yeah, so it was like a weird thing. I'm like, so hey guys, like, do you want to go out? I kind of was like speaking that way. Hey, do you want to go out and line up, for some Phantom Menace toys?
I was 110% in.
Yeah, Rob, like even if he was a Star Wars fan, because he was such a good friend, he would have been there. And he could, for the fun of it. He was like the ringleader saying, yeah, let's absolutely go and have a good time. No matter what it was, if it was Star Trek toy, whatever it would be, you would be, let's go have some fun. And so Andrew's going, oh, okay, sure. And he's, so we get in the car. I'll never forget it. It's so weird, isn't it? One of those things I'll never forget. And I remember my mom was kind of like, excited for us. We're going on this weird, stupid adventure. We're going to light up the stars.
I remember the whole drive there, we kept saying, we're going to be like the only people there. It's going to be so embarrassing. It's going to be so quiet. It's so funny.
I know. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, like, this is going to be so weird. And like, and then all of a sudden, I remember coming up to the mall, and there, I looked over, and the lineup was around the block, and then some, and I'm like, then I was mad. Why didn't we come earlier? Why did we wait? I was so mad about that. It was so funny. And I remember we pulled up, and I remember this walk of shame all the way to the back of the lineup, and then you get behind a person who already felt like they were the biggest loser, and now you're the biggest loser because you're behind them, and then we sat and had to talk for I guess, oh God, it was like 2 hours or something.
Oh yeah, but more people came in behind us, so at least we We didn't stay the
I
biggest
noticed a
movies.
lot of people there. And to be honest with you, I've done some midnight launches of Star Wars toys since then, in the last bunch of years. And they run out of toys in the first, 10 people who go in.
Yeah, pretty much.
But back then, it was a Zellers, right?
Yeah.
It was Zellers. And one thing I want to say about this, one thing that's so crazy, it was a couple of years ago, I was on YouTube, and I can't show the video because it's not mine. Somebody else shot it. I typed in Zellers, 1999, toys, Vancouver. I found the goddamn video that somebody shot video of that lineup
Of that lineup the night we went.
That we were in, that we were there.
Really?
Yeah, I looked for us. We were not. We were nowhere.
That's okay. You got to send me that video later.
Yo, I'll look it up.
See that.
Yeah, and it was
Oh,
the nostalgia for that. I was like, oh my god, this is so nice that somebody, because you people didn't have cell phones. You didn't capture this stuff. It was only in your brain.
Unless you had one of those giant VHS tape camera things.
Yeah,
right.
Right. Exactly. And so nice to see that and to go, oh no, that did take place. And I remember walking up. This is so funny. I don't know why I always have this memory. Walking up, and it was mass hysteria when they let us in. They finally let us in. And we go
running.
there. I saw Star Wars toys flying in the air, and I remember this one guy, and he had a shopping cart. And he was he had this cool goth jacket on and all that, black hair. He looked kind of cool, like a nose ring. Older guy though, in his 30s, but not probably 33-ish. And he had two good-looking girls grabbing all the toys, putting them in for him. And I was like, I want to be this guy one day. I remember
That's serious squad goals.
I'm like, I want to be this guy one day. And it's too funny, man. I always remember, I'm like, that guy, that's a cool guy.
You could hear the basic.
Yeah. It was perfectly 1999.
Oh.
It was so great, and I remember I got my two little Star Wars toys. I got a little pod racer this big, and this is before the movie came out. And I think did I get my C-3PO that night? I think I missed it.
No, that was the one that you wanted.
Yes.
Of all the toys, you were like, I need the C-3PO without the metal plating on it. I need that figure. And
yeah, and you just can't state it enough, and I know we're going on about it. You can't. This was the biggest movie in human history.
Also, you've got to remember, this was pre-eBay scalper land.
Right.
So toys stayed on the shelves because people weren't literally just sweeping an entire peg worth of the same figure to go resell later.
Well, they were doing that night. We just weren't there. We weren't there for that aspect of it. People had shopping carts full of stuff, and they never got their money back on those figures. What was funny about that too is I remember coming back, and we dropped you off, and I came back and I cracked a beer. It was I think it was 2 a.m. or something like that at that point. And I'm looking at my pod racer and having a beer. And I remember being so excited about the potential of this movie. I was like, oh, I cannot wait. And so I was like, oh man, I didn't get anything. There was nothing there. The next morning, I go to my local Zellers. I get up and have some bacon and eggs, and I'm taking my time. I get there about 11 in the morning, and I walk over to the Star Wars section, and it is absolutely full of everything. And I'm like, but I'm glad we did the midnight launch.
We had to.
It was fun. I mean,
so I love the memories of that night. Standing there, you and me and Andrew chatting and joking around.
Yeah, I mean,
really?
we talked about, actually, I don't think we have. Me and you've talked about it, that before you get married and have that, you have a family, your friends are your family. And that's why me and Rob have always gone on about these moments in our time, because we were family to each other. And this is what we did. I mean, we hung out more than anything. And that's how it worked. It was amazing. Yeah. And then I'll let you tell the story of the next event that happened. Do you remember do you know what I'm going to talk about? Yeah, the video store.
Oh my goodness.
I want you to tell it. Yeah.
So, our local Rogers Video, which was, we basically lived between the Blockbuster that was up Scott Road and that Rogers Video. We lived in those stores. Yeah. We rented stuff all the damn always. We were constantly watching movies and renting stupid things in games. And this was the summer where DVD had really come into its own. And VHS, the door was closed. It was on its way out. And Rogers Video put up signs saying, that's it. We're blowing out every VHS tape we have $1 a piece.
It was amazing.
And for, guys like us who used to scrounge up all of our beer cans to return to get money to buy stuff. I know. We were like, $1 a piece for movies?
Yeah.
And that we went in there.
And remember, Andrew was working at the time. He was an engineer in California.
Like a real job.
With a real
big fancy money job. This wasn't a part-time thing. He was career man.
Yeah, and so he's walking in just like, yeah, I'll take this. Yeah, I'll take
Buddy
this.
walked in with his fat stacks of cash. He was throwing singles like it was raining.
But hey, even if I had $12, I got 12 movies.
That's right.
Man, what did you get? Do you remember
I remember I got Zeram, which is the live action version of the anime Iria.
Yeah.
I know that I got Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Right.
And I only got a couple of others. I bought a bunch of anime tapes.
Yeah. I bought a bunch of movies that I always just wanted to own, that I either had tapes on beta or something like that, and so yeah, I have a whole bunch of science fiction movies and things like that. Like I got a copy of Buckaroo Banzai on VHS, and the actual real legit one. And they're all in my closet here in big containers. I got tons and tons and tons and tons of them.
Even back then, I couldn't afford. I think I got maybe 4 or 5 movies.
Right, but
I was there for the excitement of like watching.
And I don't you remember? I kept going back. I kept going back.
Every time I
want to
found
get some
a couple
more.
of bucks in a house.
Yeah. You'd end up going back to do that. Now, here's the thing that we got to talk about. This is where it becomes the ultimate summer of gaming. We're getting back to the gaming stuff. Sorry about all that. We had to talk about that.
But this is all part of that summer.
We have to remember this summer.
It was the ultimate nerd fun summer for us.
Yeah, it was.
You know?
It was kind of the last one before we really had to get jobs and settle down.
It was the last one before our parents sold the houses we grew up in.
That's right.
And we moved out and we moved on.
That's probably why
life changed.
Yeah, that's
so much.
That's why we remember it so well.
This was our
it's our last swan song summer.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you did something absolutely ridiculous.
Now, my brother Gord, who John knew well before we were hanging out, right?
Yeah.
And my sister Meg both lived in Japan at the time and were teaching English. And this was very early in their time with the JET program.
Yeah.
I think they'd been there maybe a year or two at the time.
Yeah.
My parents decided we're all going to go and visit them in Japan.
How amazing.
The home of gaming.
Yeah, an anime.
An anime.
Yeah,
and this was, I mean, this was foaming at the mouth insanity for me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, we're going.
Yeah.
Right. And we got on the plane and we flew out to Japan and we went to a little village outside of Sapporo.
Yeah.
So we were on the northern island. We weren't like Tokyo for most of it. But I got there, I got off the plane, and it was like everything. And I always remembered, first time we hung out and went to Johan Center.
Yeah.
You said, just imagine you're getting off the plane in Japan and this is the first place you
because there was so much anime stuff back then and soundtracks. It was so cool. Yeah.
And then it actually happened. And I got off that plane and everything was spectacular. That whole summer, I lived off of vending machine melon soda and Vita drinks like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. I adored it. But while I was there, and I have so many amazing stories.
Yeah.
Like you training me in Street Fighter.
You need to, on your own channel one day.
I'm going to do my Japan stories.
Yeah, do that there. That'd be perfect.
While I was there, I remember I saved up spending money like an absolute bastard because I knew I was going to want to buy a ton of stuff. Amazingly, I bought a lot of stuff for me. I bought a lot of stuff for you.
He did.
Because I was like, well, it's not, I'm there and he's not. I have to bring this experience to him.
Even when I came back from Las Vegas, I brought you that Marvel versus Capcom.
Mega Man and
we did stuff like that. Yeah, we always did stuff like that.
Mega Man and War Machine figures. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
But I was in the motherland. I was in the homeland of anime and gaming.
Yeah.
I had to bring you stuff.
And
I had to share the stories of everything I bought. I remember I brought home, because we were smoking back then, a carton of these. They were like a hybrid between cigarettes and they were a hybrid between cigarettes and cigars. They were called Joker cigarettes. Remember the little thin brown?
I kind of do. Yeah.
Tasted slightly of hazelnut.
Jesus. God. Yeah. I kind of do remember those.
Yeah. So they had the black and white. It looked like torn letters out of magazines saying Joker all over the packaging.
Yeah.
So I brought those back. But I mean, so I go to Japan. I have this amazing experience. I have this incredible visit. While I'm there, my brother Gord has a Dreamcast, and he's got Power Stone and he's got Sega Rally. And I played that with him because he came to visit my sister where she was. And then we went to visit his village for a couple of days. But I mean, between and I'll be honest, my drinking was rampant during that trip because there's no public drinking laws. But I mean, between that, there was every arcade I went to, I had to stop and at least play a few games. There were video game stores all over the place. My brother knew where all of them were, of course, because that was
his life out there.
Right? Yeah. But two things. One, I ended up bringing back like a duffel bag full of stuff.
Yeah.
And two, I come back from Japan, and I remember phoning you and saying, "Okay, I got a bunch of stuff I want to bring over."
Yeah.
And and I brought you a bunch of stuff, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! I'm so glad you're back. Like, we got to catch up. We got to hang out." And I went over and I brought over this duffel bag and I put it down, and you were just like, "What the?
What the heck is
What
this?
have you done?"
Yeah, you gave me so much amazing stuff.
There was a little Gundam figure lighter that you squeezed the legs and a flame popped out its
Yeah.
head. There was a Godzilla lighter that lit up and roared when you lit it.
You bought me East 5
East
on
5.
the Super Famicom. Yeah.
And I got you. Didn't I get you a Furry Eden game on the Super Famicom as well?
Yes, you did Zero.
Furry Eden Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Like tons of games, some soundtracks.
It's
a ton of stuff.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
And then I reached into the bag.
Just when I thought it was done, that was enough, right?
And my brother sent the Dreamcast back to North America. I brought Power Stone and Sega Rally and a Sega Dreamcast back before it was out here.
Yeah.
Before it was out.
It was unbelievable.
This guy's eyes were like...
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you got a Dreamcast? We got Sonic Adventure and Power Stone?
And since it was still in the box, I actually had the AV cable with me. Didn't have to go on a separate trip to get it.
Wait a second. We didn't have Sonic Adventure. We had to go...
No, we rented Sonic Adventure from Willow because they had the import games.
That's right. That's what happened. And I remember... So, this is where, for the best gaming summer, we sat and played Power Stone all that day. Hours on that night. And then you let me...
I let you hang on to it for a
He's like, hey, just you can have it. Just listen. And I'm like...
And I'll let you play for a couple days.
I remember, I'm no joke, I remember this. This is so weird this summer. Remember every detail. Yeah. I woke up in the morning, that morning, lit my cigarette, had my tea, went downstairs. I've said it a couple of times, but closing the blinds. Because it was the middle of, it was summertime.
No light.
No light, thank you, bye-bye. And I remember sitting down and unlocking and doing everything you could do, beating it with every character and everything. I was just so into it. And then we got so many matches of Power Stone. It was so good.
The trash talk was so vile. It got so horribly wonderful.
It had so much. Yeah, it was so
we
brutal.
laughed until we cried. We played that, but I remember because we had gone into an arcade, that arcade that was up Kingsway.
Yes.
And they had a Power Stone machine that had this giant monitor on it, and seeing the way the flag waved in the background, or the map in the background of the title screen, we were like, that's amazing. And then when it was on your TV at home, and we were like.
And I think that's what it was.
Exactly like it was.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
the
usually you got arcade ports, and there's like, you play Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo and it looked okay.
Yeah.
Where now Power Stone in the arcade was Power Stone at home.
It was the exact same hardware.
And we were
entering. First time.
We were entering a different era.
Yep. The Naomi hardware was Dreamcast hardware.
It was absolutely insanity, and I had so much fun that summer playing that. And then we went and rented Sonic Adventure and bringing that back and loving that. And then eventually the Dreamcast got officially released, and we all got that and stuff like that. We've done that story.
Yes, we've done that story.
And all of that. And then we got a chance to sit down and play Blue Stinger. And I just want to say, for this episode, me and Rob were playing the game in the other room just before we came in to do this episode. And there's so much to say about Blue Stinger that maybe we'll do an episode, a dedicated episode, because this game is gold in that it's awesome and it's awesomely terrible.
It perfectly encapsulates what this revolution in gaming was at the time. At the time, it was mind-blowing. The graphics were spectacular. The concept was amazing. It was the music. And to this day, I will fight people in the street if they want to say the music in this game isn't amazing. I will fight you in the street with my broken leg.
And we will shake hands with the people that say the controls are terrible.
We will, because they are. They are
horrendous.
But despite all that, it was such an amazing experience at the time to play.
Yeah.
And now the nostalgia that comes with that.
Oh my.
Watching 3D come into
it's kind of like, this game should be called Blue Stinger, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It really should.
All 3 in 1.
Because it's all in there.
It is.
You can see that they were really trying to do something with the game. Really trying to push it. The original, the idea of the storyline.
And at the same time, it was such a very Japanese game.
Right.
Like the vending machines with all the weapons in them, like vending machine culture was huge in this game, which had not been exposed to North America as much yet.
Right.
Unless you were a big game fan.
But you can also see that the director was so influenced by American cinema.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to tell an epic story. Yeah. And he is. And the actual overall story of Blue Stinger is so epic. And then all of a sudden you start playing it and you're like, oh, the controls aren't there, and that's kind of where they should. I think they were rushed.
Yes.
I think they had to rush it
Maybe
to get it in
time.
And it was the 3D, the camera's really bad, and then the voice acting, as you like to say, we always like to say, voice is so horrible,
man.
But it's so funny to us now. Now it's like. It's great.
So perfect horrible.
It's so. Can you do your dog's voice?
Dogs?
Yeah.
I can't leave a wimp like you to handle that by yourself.
Whatever.
Whatever.
That's what Elliot Ballard says.
I can't let a wimp like you go alone. Whatever.
Elliot Ballard, who's Dante from friggin' Clerks. I'm on vacation. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Yes, I know. It's so funny. It's like, something has hit the island. What do you mean you can't be? You need to get us off.
But it's my day off.
Oh, come on, God. You're such a whiny. Oh, come on. And then that whole bit where she's like, you get to the island and you're knocking on the research facility, and then you're like, hey, I can't get in. She's like, and then you're talking to a woman who's inside, and she's like, well, let's check out the corpses. I'm sure there's a card in there.
There should be corpses everywhere.
And you're like, as a player, you're like, it's just so nonchalant. Just check the corpses. It'll be a. And then he's like, did you say corpses?
So just scavenge the dead bodies.
It's so funny. He's like, did you say corpses? And
corpses? Did you say there are a number of corpses around? Where?
And she's like, oh, and you can't hear her anymore. And he's like, and then so we're going on about, dude, punching these freaking mutated creatures, and then you end up with the like little flash kick.
Yes,
with
the
fire
flame trail, which was amazing.
Which was awesome, but it doesn't make any sense.
No.
In reality, it just is, and then you kill the enemy, and just all of a sudden the money is blasted, and it's not doesn't just go into you. Have to trail after.
Yeah, no, it literally like bursts out like a firework of coins that go all over, and if you didn't pick them up fast enough, they disappeared. And that's how you save up the money to buy guns out of the vending machine.
Which is just such a strange concept. Never mind the Christmas stuff and all of that. all this is taking place on Dinosaur Island.
And it had Pen Tricelion characters in it.
Oh,
which was the big cross promotion.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate the director of this game passed away a bunch of years ago, and I remember that they were talking about making a sequel.
Yep, he had wanted to make Red Stinger.
Red Stinger, that's something like Red Stinger, yeah.
His other game that was really well known was Illbleed.
That's right, I remember that.
But he Blue Stinger, he wanted to make Red Stinger, but he never got the chance.
I really think it's a very high concept of what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think just a little bit more money and a little bit of time, this could have been nobody talks about Blue Stinger anymore.
No.
Like, there's no reason to, you know?
It had the potential to be an A+ game.
It really did.
It had that potential.
It's like a C-, but anyways, we could go on and on. I mean, we got to save it and really do it.
We will do
one day. We will review Blue Stinger, but guys, we've gone on for so long with this episode, and we could go on. We could do a 5-hour episode.
Because it's the summer that we wish had never ended.
Yeah.
In some ways, and that we love to revisit because it was. I mean, with all of these things that happened in one summer.
One summer. I mean, it's perfect.
It was so great.
It was so fun, and it's kind of the last time our friends would hang out in that neighborhood at that time, and that's why it's very special. And I guess that answers the question why I could never forget this summer and why we wanted to cement it today.
Yes.
And even if people watch it or they don't, we're cementing it for ourselves because it's so damn good. Do you guys have a summer that is like this? Let us know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.